Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Are you
Now broadcasting live from the After Hours AM studio, Joel Sturgis and Eric Olson.
Hello.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of After Hours AM. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olson.
And tonight we got a barn burner, a slobber knocker of a show for you. Hour two, we're going to be talking with a near-death experiencer or a near-death survivor. Nanci Danison will be on, and she is going to tell us all about what it's like to make that big crossover. And she's written a ton of books. It's going to be a great, great interview, Eric.
Oh, absolutely. What an amazing story. And apparently she was dead, quote unquote, clinically dead, longer than anyone else they have a record of.
Isn't that insane? And like 3 times the lady's been dead.
She just keeps knocking herself off.
Just keeps dying off, really. You know, hey, I'm going to die today. Why
and then
not?
she just bounces back. Yep, I'm back.
I'm back. Oh, did you miss me? Well,
biatches.
But right now we have the one, the only Cocky Tommy Two-Tone joining us from WGW Wrestling. And we're here to talk. He's here to not only talk about the event, but also talk about himself a little bit. Tommy, how you doing, man?
Hey, good day, sir.
It's as good as
Hello,
I can
Eric,
be.
and we're going to have a great card coming up. We're all enthused about it with this cold weather, what's going on. We're supposed to be actually in the 30s Saturday, and we're going to have a good time at the Rudy Perpage building in Hibbing. Bell time 6:30, doors open at 5:30 for WGW Wrestling Gone Action, fundraiser for the Healing Helping Hands Clubhouse. That's Arranged Mental Health there. So how are you fellows tonight?
You know, I can't complain. How about you, Eric? How you doing? How you hanging in there?
I'm doing all right. I like seeing the thermometer inching slowly upward. We're finally above zero, so that's positive.
You're just a show-off, man. You're just a show-off.
I know. It still feels cold because we're snowflakes here in Ohio.
I would say so. We know all about cold, me and Tommy.
You own it.
My God, it's been colder than a bad ex's shoulder around here.
And that's cold.
That is cold, boy. That is cold.
Well, tell us your wind chill. It's just almost unbelievable.
Well, we had 60 below, or was it 60 or 80, Tommy, the other night? I can't remember which. And that was the wind chill.
It was close to like 80, 82 below.
Yeah. And then it was like 40, 50 below, 57 below. Some people had of just the air. Down. So it's been nuts.
Sound real.
Yeah, we were looking to break the record because we actually hold the national record for the coldest place in America, which is in Embarrass, Minnesota, which is about half hour north of Tommy and I. And
I guess that was like 96 below.
Yeah, it was 1996. It hit like bejesus below zero. Like hell looked warm compared to it.
Oh my goodness! Well, hell is warm, of course, but it's staggering, and once you get below a certain level, I mean, just nothing works besides how dangerous it is. I mean, the margin of error becomes none. Either that heater's working and you are fully padded against it, if you even contemplate going outside, or you are instantly dead. Basically, it's quite alarming.
Well, exactly. It's absolutely nuts, and it'll be a good time though to catch some hot action. February 2nd. See what I did there, Eric? Transition. Some hot action.
That is good.
WGW, all for the glory. Governor Rudy Perpich building. Doors open at 5. Ring
And
bell.
Bob Dylan's going to be there.
Well, we have not. Well, he might show up. He's like a Rolling Stone, after all, so you just don't know where he's going to pop up.
Childhood home. That's
It
why
is.
we say.
It is childhood home. So, but you can get your tickets. I highly recommend getting tickets at Mike's Heating and Sheet Metal before, because you might show up at the door and one of these kind people might have to turn you away. We don't want to have to turn anyone away. But if we get to capacity, but to ensure that you get your seat, that you get... Now, what I would do if I were you, if you're listening, get ringside seats. That's what you want to do. If you really want to enjoy it.
You want their sweat and blood, bodily fluids all over.
You want the blood, sweat, and tears, and who knows, maybe some beers in your eyes. No, not beers. That's after the show.
And you want the action in your lap.
Yeah, if you want, and that actually last show I was at, that darn near happened. Yeah. So it was quite the interesting show. But I don't have to tell you, Tommy, step in, man.
Okay, like I just want to tell everybody, we're having stars, pro wrestling stars, like Abe Del Rio and Mike Heckstrom from Finding Bigfoot, the Animal Planet channel star, are going to be there. They're going to be signing autographs, probably looking for Bigfoot. It's going to be action-packed all the way. Then we're going to have wrestlers from, Canada, Arizona, from all over the state, even out of the country. The King Leonidas that we had on last week.
Yes.
The WGW champion.
And he's
All
taking
the way
on...
from Greece. From Greece.
Yes, from Sparta. This is Sparta.
Sparta.
But he's also
From
taking
Sparta?
on... Yeah, Chief Bosnia, though. And I looked Chief Bosnia up. I
Yeah.
watched some of his stuff. That guy's a monster.
No, he's all there, but I just want to run this by, too. We're going to have 4 belts on the line, 4 WGW title belts on the line that night. There's going to be the WGW International title on the line, and that'll feature Greg Hurt against the champion of that belt, Gravedigger, over 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, man. I mean, just figure, over 7 feet tall.
Of wrestler.
Yeah. And just to add a little cherry on the Sunday, I'll be there. So a lot of folks are saying, hey, I'm just coming to see you, man. So, come on down, come and see me, but enjoy the action. You might come to meet me because I'm on the radio, obviously, but you're going to love the action that you run into, and that's what's going to hook you. But not only that, it's the good cause too that Tommy's doing. It's anti-bullying. So, and Tommy, you got a great catchphrase that you've come up with that we've kind of, you coined about that.
Yes, and I just want to have a special person here tell you about it. The First Lady of WGW. She's going to tell you, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, here she is.
Hi, guys, me again.
Hey,
Hi.
How you doing? Long time no talk.
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having us on again.
Good. I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, so let's talk about our bullying campaign here. Our slogan is be a buddy, not a bully. And we want to encourage all the kids to come out with their families. That's what I love about this. Kids and families all together, getting out and doing something fun. But at the same time, we're going to take a stand, all together and learn the signs of being bullied and what the signs might be if somebody is a bully. So we're going to have a good time getting some awareness out there and taking a pledge all together.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, how can they take the pledge? Is there like the contract they sign or anything like that?
Yep, we have a contract that's all ready to sign, and kids will be able to take a picture with that, with Mr. Incredible, and maybe even get some wrestlers to sign it.
That is super duper cool. Very cool.
Yep. So just spread the word. Be a buddy, not a bully.
that will be the word of the day, and we'll spread it around.
Thanks. All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right, I'm back. That's
Hey.
Mrs. Hockey Tommy Two-Tone, the first lady of WGW there.
Yeah, I do feel like I was in the presence of royalty. I really do.
She's an awesome lady.
She absolutely is. You guys are definitely doing this for a great cause and a huge card coming up. But, Tom, last time you were on, you didn't really talk about yourself. You're kind of a humble guy, cocky Tommy Two-Tone, which is a bit of a
You're
strange
humbly cocky.
dichotomy here. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, how I got into business is, I've always been into business. I watched wrestling all my life. My oldest brother, trained with the great Eddie Sharkey in the cities, and he was the mass professional. He wrestled all over the country, AWA, WWA, NWA. He wrestled with Ric Flair. He wrestled for the Popples. And I just watched it as a kid every Sunday. Then I trained myself in the early 90s, and I wrestled here and there. Then I came back to Minnesota in about 2001. I started my own wrestling company called RPW, Range Pro Wrestling, where we had a successful draw for about, it was about 8 years, We were going all over, booking shows. Then I kind of got down in the dumps about wrestling, and wrestling was down on the down slope. And I was out of it for a few years, and we got fired up with WGW Wrestling Gone Wild. Guys, where anything can happen.
Yeah.
That's why we're Wrestling Gone Wild.
Yeah, that is true. It is definitely a wild time.
And I'm telling you, for all the glory, Saturday, February 2nd, 2019, doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:30, prizes, raffles, concessions. I mean, it's for a good cause, for the range mental health, and we're doing our anti-bullying. There's going to be there for kids 7 action-packed matches. I mean, you're going to see over a 7-foot tall guy to a little tiny church mouse, in doing battle. But anyways, on my part, I'm the bad guy. I play the bad guy. I'm underhanded, and I'm just straight out forward with everything, and everything has to go my way or the highway, but it's just, I've just been really thankful for being in the business. I love doing it, and meeting great people like you guys, like Joe and Eric, you two on the radio.
Shucks, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
I met many people. I met Bobby the Brain Heenan. I was just with Mean Gene Oakland last July up in Tower,
Yeah.
And I talked to him. I talked to him a few months even before he passed away here, And then just meeting all these greats that I grew up with, and way before I was even thought of, got in the business or even born. I met a lot of greats, and it's just an honor, being in the ring with them, and where I can do it to make a part for a family show, and just to meet great people on the way, and like building WGW. A lot of people get behind me because I ain't everybody should be together on the indie scene of pro wrestling. It's just, everybody should work together.
Yeah, exactly.
Not you're better here.
Yeah,
you're not better here. I'm better than you. And in a lot of these indie shows, you see, or you go on their websites, Indiana Wrestling, any indie pro promo. They have all this fancy stuff. I don't have all the fancy technology, but I get the word out there. We do a lot of family things. I bring in the good talent, and we just have our WGW family, just like the WWE, heavy on wrestling. You got your family.
Yeah.
You know, and every like we say, WGW for all the glory. Saturday, February 2nd, 2019, Rudy Perkridge Building, Hibbing.
Wow.
You know,
It's going to be a great time.
It's gonna be a great time. You know.
Well, give us a taste
So,
what you're like in the ring when you hit the ring, Tommy. Come on.
Yeah.
Cocky it up a little bit.
Oh, come on! If you guys, I wish. Yeah, Eric, are you gonna be any chance of being there?
I'm in Ohio. I'm too far away, but I will certainly be there in spirit.
I got some wrestlers coming from Ohio.
Do you?
And they're going
Fantastic.
We got Robert Evans, great Robert Evans, coming up from Ohio. He contacted me a couple months ago, and I put him on the card.
Well, there you go, Eric.
I could be on the card. I would be the thinnest person on the card.
You could be a piece of the whipping in the battle royal or the
I could be
hardcore
a
match.
spear.
Yeah, you could be the foreign object.
You can be the foreign object.
You know?
All the way from Ohio, the foreign object.
Yeah, the flying foreign object.
Oh,
but anyways,
I don't know. I may be too old.
Huh?
I may be too old.
No, Dirty Ernie, 65.
No.
Come on.
What? You know, we got. I saw some legends still wrestle. I saw the Baron von Raschke a couple of years ago jump in the ring.
He's got like 90.
Come on. Yeah, but
all right.
That's why we're pro wrestlers. We're like superheroes. We're like rubber bands. You know that Stretch Armstrong you had?
Yeah.
Go on and go on.
That's
like
right.
Well, I am actually relieved that there are people who can function in such a riotous and uproarious manner deep into their lives. I think that's a wonderful thing, and it really does from the outside. I've never been involved with pro wrestling. I honestly haven't paid all that much attention to it, other than occasionally, and really
well,
more.
You should.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously, you should. But from the the entertainment standpoint, I mean, I saw The Wrestler, great movie, but it really is cool that that you guys are doing something that's physical, that certainly involves exercise, that is fun, and that it's family oriented. And then in your particular case, you take it a whole other step. And it's always about it's a benefit for charity or for various causes, and I don't think it could be any more appropriate at all that you guys are doing anti-bullying. I mean, that just fits in so well. It means you can be big, tough, strong, even crazy, and not be a bully, and be against bullying. And I think that's wonderful. And I really do applaud you guys. And if I was anywhere near, I'd love to go. I'd love to see the show and support you.
It'd be an honor. It'd be an honor to have you in the house. Then we can shoot that Joel there when he's on the mic. You can come out with me, be a part of my posse, Eric, and you could really walk the aisle with Cocky Tommy Two-Tone. You could get on that cocky jet, and we could walk that aisle and showboat and give everybody.
Oh, Cocky Tommy Two-Tone. I got to tell you, man, I'm the reflection of perfection, the number one selection, Daddy.
Yeah, Joey.
It would be an honor, Tommy. It would be an honor, and I appreciate it very much that you're asking me. And with how vivid the description is between last week and you guys this week, I mean, it really sounds like a ball, and it sounds like a great atmosphere. And really fun, and a way for families, like you emphasize, to spend time together. And if it gives if it causes one kid to stop and not do something they would have otherwise done, bullying someone else, then, oh my goodness, it is so worth it.
Yes, it is, because that can lead to, bullying can lead to so many things. There's hurt. There's humiliation, what comes with it. There's abuse. It's abuse, harassment.
Clearly.
Threatening. It leads to suicide. It hits the heart. You can be 10 feet tall, built like a brick. I'm gonna say.
I knew where you were going with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I had to get that in there. But they could be bullied. Anybody could be
Anyone
bullied.
can be. You're right. Emotionally,
Anybody.
emotional bullying is just as harmful and maybe in some ways more lastingly harmful than physical bullying. And we're seeing it online, not just in person. Now,
That's the cyberbullying.
right, and that's just as that's a really terrible thing, and it's so cowardly because now you're not even face to face. You're just out there in cyberspace, and you're picking on people, and you're running them down. It's a terrible thing, and it's very cowardly.
Yes, it is. They're very cowardly, like you said. It ain't like being in the ring face to face with
Right.
7 great matches that we're gonna have at the Range Purpose Building, February 2nd, 2019, for all the glory.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely
7
show up.
great matches. Like, can I run down the card real quick?
Yes, absolutely. Do so.
Okay, we're gonna just sit back and listen to the cocky do his walks. Okay, we're walking her down the list. You just made the list, you two. No. Anyways, good part. The first match, we're gonna have the W Intercontinental Champion, over 7 foot tall Gravedigger, come out, take on pretty boy Greg Hurts, which is from Every Woman's Fantasy. Alrighty.
Wow.
And second match. Yeah.
Eric, I thought there's someone that just stole your name.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Then the second match, we're gonna have the Mad Russian from Mother Russia take on one half of the Barking Spiders, Big Ox. This guy's big. He's like 6 foot. His arms are built like rockets. I mean, they're huge. I know, Joe, you saw his pictures on the you saw him last show, Barking
I
Spiders.
do, and I know him from growing up with him in Evelyn, so I actually know him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, the third match is going to be a 3-way dance. We got a mystery opponent. We got Spicy. He's an erotic clown. He is awesome. Yeah, I think he was friends with Doink the Clown. I don't know, but this guy. How many people remember Doink the Clown? Do you remember Doink the Clown?
I do remember Doink.
Yeah.
And Dunk.
I think this guy was trained by Little Doink or Big Doink. But anyway, Spicy against the AWA legend, Dirty Ernie. And like I said, there's going to be a mystery opponent. It's a 3-way dance. Okay. In the fourth match, we're going to have a extreme. It's just going to be really extreme. It's going to be Zach Neal against Robert Evans. That's a straight-out, clean pro wrestling match.
That's going to be a good one. Yeah, they're all going to be great.
They're going to be great. In the main event, the King Leonidas. I hope he's listening to this, because as well as I do, last week he kind of belittled me. But I was getting back from all my paperwork in my office, and I've been going here to this side of the world, to there and there, and I wasn't very talkative or energetic, as cocky as I am.
Exactly.
So I let him belittle me. But he's going to be belittled. Well, he's kissing my feet when he loses that title, when Chief Bosnia and me take the title back where it's supposed to be.
Woo!
Then you're going to see this awesome tag team, Flex Appeal from Flex City, USA, Austin and Tyler. They're the WGW Tag Team Champions. What are going to be taking on Luther Wilson III and Jimmy Wild. This guy, he's from Impact Wrestling. And Luther Wilson III, he's from somewhere down south. Great guy. I ran past with him, but I think they're going to be beat. Then we got 2 other matches for a surprise. So just to get your tickets at Mike's Heating and Sheet Metal in Hibbing, And kids are $6, $8 at the door. Adults are $10, $12 at the door. Ringside is $15, $20 at the door. And there's a family 4-pack. If you get them by Saturday for $30, that includes 2 adults, 2 kids, and there's going to be prizes. And I just want to put this out there. There's only 40 ringside tickets what go around the ring. There's only 40, 10 on each side. If you guys know how to count. I'm cocky. I know it all. Okay.
Woo!
Anyways.
Woo!
Anyways. Out of them 40 seats, there's going to be a prize for one of them lucky ringside ticket holders. Like at the end of the show, we're going to say stand up, and one of them are going to get an awesome prize. And like I say, we got raffles, food, prizes for the kids, 7 great matches, and we got AntiBullying. We got Mr. Incredible there, the guys from Finding Bigfoot. We got pro wrestling stars. They're going to be signing the contracts. We're getting this thing out. We're getting the high-flying action out there. We're speaking to kids. It's kid-friendly, adult-friendly. There's everything you want in an event. That's
amazing stuff. I am envious. Yeah. I am envious of it. It's all very positive and fun and energetic. And thank goodness it's going to warm up a little for you guys. I'm really glad to hear that. All the way up to 30, maybe.
30, almost to 30.
Holy heck. Get the Speedo out again.
Yeah.
Me and Joe be running around that school.
Well, you know, it's like this, Cocky Tommy. I've dined with kings and queens. I've been in the alley to eat pork and beans, but I can still beat you.
Yeah. The good old words from Dusty Rhodes, baby.
I had to bring
elbow. Woo! I wined and dined. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's going to be a great show. And come on down, hang out with me. I'm going to be there. All of the folks that are listening, absolutely come on down. I'm not shy. So if you want to say hi, I'll be there. Not a problem at all. Yeah. I look forward to meeting all of you.
Can you shoot the date? Can you shoot where they can get tickets? I want to.
Yeah, Mike's Heating and Sheet Metal. And that address is escaping me right now. I'm having a huge brain moment there.
It's 2318 First Avenue.
I'm just not as good as Cocky Two-Tone is. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it.
Your persona. We'll get her down. You can go to the cocky school.
I'm not worthy. Okay. I'm not worthy.
The School of Advanced Cockiness.
But if you could run down the info one more time first and shoot out, because I gotta go, gotta do.
Absolutely, you go contract. Do that. You get the.
We got summer events coming up, but shoot the event out where it's going to be.
That's February 2nd. Yeah, February 2nd. Governor Rudy Perpich Building, right there in beautiful downtown Hibbing, Minnesota. You can get all of your tickets in advance at Mike's Heating and Sheet Metal. The address Tommy just said, I can't remember to save my life. That number
23.
I just wanted to hear your beautiful voice again, Tommy. That's what it was, man.
Oh,
the cockiness.
You guys are learning. Everybody's going to be kissing my feet.
All right, Cocky Two-Tone, everybody, from WGW Wrestling Gone Wild. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to come right back with your Twitter headlines, America's Most Haunted Twitter feed. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Otherwise, we're going to send Cocky after you.
Thank you.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My backyard.
Oh, your backyard. Try telling a bear that.
I did, and this bear talked back.
Talking bear, that's rich.
No, wait, it was Smokey Bear.
Smokey? Why didn't you say so?
I did say so.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste.
No, boy.
He told me to burn legally and responsibly, and to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
And as always, he's right. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Yeah, I know that now.
Thanks to me.
Actually, thanks to Smokey.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Get your Smokey on. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
I got a rather serious problem over here.
All right, what are we looking at?
Cranky mother-in-law asleep on the couch in the man cave.
Dear God.
It gets worse.
That's impossible.
She's passed out on the remote.
I stand corrected.
What do I do?
Okay, I want you to grab a Torrin Big Red hydraulic bottle jack.
Okay.
Now you wedge that bad boy in under your mother-in-law and crank her up skyward.
It's working. And got the remote.
Great. Now grab that Torrin Big Red 2-ton folding shop crane and put that woman on wheels.
And away we go.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olson.
And don't go anywhere, because right after this, bottom of the hour, we're going to have a near-death survivor that's going to come. She actually went to the other side, man, and she's back to tell us all about it, what her experience.
She chose to return.
Yeah, that's Nanci Danison. You're not going to want to miss that at all, because, wow, I cannot wait to talk to her, because just reading her stuff, I got so many questions. Just so many questions. So that being said, I want everybody to fire up your browsers. Go on over to twitter.com and search out America's Most Haunted, or what the cool kids are calling it, at AM Haunted. And you can follow along. You don't even have to be a member of Twitter, but you should be. That way you can follow us right back. 460,000 followers that's on this page.
Can't all be wrong.
Cannot be all be wrong. And when you're done with that, if you've never been to this website, shame, double shame, I will know your name. That is After Hours. America's-most-haunted.com is the one-stop shop for all things paranormal goodness. There you can read all the articles that our very own Eric Olson labors over each and every week to write just for you. So you got to stop over there and read those articles. It accompanies the shows. Again, that's America's-most-haunted.com for all things Amazemo.
Wow, that was quite a description, I must say.
Right, look at that. Just like a radio professional, wasn't it?
That wins on all fronts.
Mm-hmm. It's
all
like
right.
I've done that before or something.
Here we go. Well, periodically we talk about Supernatural because it's the greatest show of all time.
All time.
All time. It's number one. Everything I know about the paranormal, I learned from watching Supernatural.
Okay. So
we are in season... I can't even remember. Is it 13? Is it 14? An enormous number of seasons.
Yeah, it's been around. I do remember when Jeffrey Dean Morgan was on there. Was the baseball guy.
Well, there you go. How did you know that that's what I was going to talk about?
I had a feeling.
So Negan, our good friend Negan from The Walking Dead, prior to being Negan, when he weighed about 50 pounds more, he was the father of Sam and Dean on Supernatural. And just as their mother has returned from the dead after like 30 years of being on the other side, it appears that Dad is returning from the dead as well. Now, that's not unusual on Supernatural, but Dad hasn't been on for quite a while. So this is coming up next week, a week from tonight, Thursday, February 7th. Jeffrey Dean Morgan returns to Supernatural, and that's to celebrate, and this just sounds, think about what this means, their 300th
oh my God.
episode.
My God. Yeah, they've been around so long, you'd have to say, set your VCRs for the first episode. That's how long they've been around.
It's been a long time. Imagine sitting down and watching all 300 in a row.
No, I'm good. That's just too much TV time.
Oh, my God. That's, well, if they're an hour each, I mean, they're not really an hour, but that's 300
If you're to watch them as the network intended, with the commercials intact, that's 300 hours of programming.
And that is quite a long time.
That's like over a week. That's like 2 weeks. Just sitting there.
Well, 24 hours in a day, so that'd be 10 days, would be 240.
Yep.
And so, it's like 12 days.
Yeah. You better...
doing nothing.
You have doing nothing other than eating chips, going to the bathroom occasionally, and watching Supernatural.
The greatest show
ever.
Ever. They are still going strong. Looks like they'll have yet another season. I don't know if they've been renewed yet for next season, but I'm assuming they will be. The CW keeps saying as long as the actors who play Sam and Dean want to keep on going, they will keep on.
I would imagine that massive paycheck they get has something to do with it.
Yeah, by now, because when they first started, they did not get paid that much because it was the CW early on in the CW.
Yeah,
but it was the weak, it was the poor stepchild of broadcast TV. But having done it all these years and become as popular as they are personally, oh yeah, they're making the bucks.
They are now. And a side note, Negan will be back. Next month, February, will be a premiere of the second half of the Walking Dead season, if anyone cares anymore. But that will be on.
I like the first half of this season.
I do, but I noticed now, reading one of the trade magazines, that they are tanking, well, comparatively for The Walking Dead, which is still a massive number for anyone else, but they're really not doing as well as they once did. They're really struggling.
The bloom is off the rose. I think that's why they went so radical with this big time jump coming into this season.
Yeah.
And a lot of different characters. I think this new season so far has been interesting. I think it's good.
I think it's been good. I don't know now. I do not know if American Horror Story will be coming back, because this last season was a bit of a stinker too, man. 2 seasons in a row that were both confusing kind of stinkers. I don't know.
Well, confusing. I like this one better than the last one.
I do.
Way too meta.
Too meta. And this one was kind of weird too in its own way.
This one, I kind of like the way they wrapped it up better. Usually, the seasons kind of run out of steam. You know what I mean?
I noticed that. I
start great, and they kind of run out of steam. This time, I think it ended well. I will give them that.
It's the little,
for the channel though, for what's it on? It's on FX. Right? Yeah, it's still by far their.
But did you notice the F words they put in there now?
Oh, they're allowing it.
On broadcast. I couldn't. I know it's cable, but I couldn't believe the first time what? Did I just hear that actor correctly? Whoa.
It's cable and it's after 10 p.m.
Yeah,
so they can get away.
Yeah, it was quite shocking. But yeah, that's the show. Is kind of like the little engine that could, man. Always runs out of steam at the end. But not this time. It was all right. Okay.
Yeah, it ended well. All right, moving along. We've all heard the story about that 3-year-old who was lost in the woods for 2 nights. 2 whole nights. 3 years old. Lost in the freezing woods of North Carolina. Well, he said that a bear looked after him. There's a lot of speculation that bear might have been a Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. I think it was Bigfoot. Yep, they've been known to take in the young.
And bears aren't really known for that.
Not really. They're more into the eating part of the young.
Or eating small humans.
Yeah, the soft, slow humans that they really enjoy.
Yeah, not so much caring for them and keeping them warm.
We're the filet mignon on the menu. Generally.
Exactly, especially our 3-year-olds.
yeah, that's veal cut.
I don't think it's a crazy speculation.
No.
Because look, we know he survived.
Yeah,
something helped him.
Someone, some way helped him. That's true.
So if he thought it was a bear, it might have been a Bigfoot.
It very well might have been. Hey, who's to say it wasn't? Really? I think it was.
His age, I don't know. We'll have to see how his memory holds up. Maybe when he gets a little older. It's these things are very touchy. Memories from when you were 3, I don't know.
Yeah, but if you talk to my 3-year-old, he'll tell you all about monkeys running around the house and lions and this and that walking down the street, and because it's all about fantasy with him.
Right.
At that age.
But that's why I made the point about, look, we know the kid survived. He didn't make that up.
Yeah, no, he survived, but how he did it, that's up for debate. But I would
a very open question and very interesting.
It is a very interesting question. Hopefully, researchers can come up with more answers. Now, what they could do later on is put him, when he's a consenting adult, should he decide to do this, under hypnosis.
I think that's a very good point. That's a good point.
And so then they could really kind of figure out what happened during that period.
Yep. That's absolutely something to look forward to, and I hope it comes up down the line, and we are reminded of it. All right, moving along. This one's just the image. I just love this picture. Obviously reminiscent of Halloween. What it is a full-on bluegrass band sitting on a porch, but they're all pumpkin heads.
That's a Halloween thing, man.
We can't forget Halloween. I'm not going to drop them in every day, but, we got to have reminders throughout the year. We have reminders.
That's all right, though. You can never have too much Halloween, can you?
Well, you can, probably. But I thought this was cool enough. It's not strictly Halloween, although, the pumpkin heads kind of are. But I just thought it was a cool picture, and I'm a sucker for cool paranormal pictures.
Who isn't? Who is not a sucker for that, after all?
I hope everyone is.
They all love it. They know they do.
All right, next, another image. I love this. It's super creepy. You have what amounts to kind of like the scales of justice, basically, a left and a right, and hanging from the left one that's facing it is I assume it's taxidermied bat. Isn't that what it looks like to you?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Taxidermied bat.
Dead taxidermied bat hanging upside down. To the right
is a skeleton.
A bat skeleton hanging. And the guy on the right is very patient.
Yes, he is.
He's been hanging there a good long time.
Yes, he's very patient. I'm looking at this. Boy, how intricate is that skeletal structure, though?
It's so thin.
Else. Yeah, that's something else right there.
So fine and thin. It's amazing. And I'm sure the fact that the bones are that small and fine, yet I'm sure also very strong, that's why they can fly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. That probably is why they can. Well, yeah, look at birds. They have hollow bones.
Right.
So
got to be light.
Yeah, got to be nice and light and aerodynamic.
Light, aerodynamic, and very strong.
Yep, that sounds like me.
For your size.
Just not light.
Yes. I can see you flapping around. I think you should do that at the wrestling match.
I don't.
Mic in hand.
Flapping
around.
I'll start screaming like a baby.
Hover above the ring. And announce it.
Yes, I will do that. I think that's a great idea. I
see from my bird's eye vantage point above the ring.
Called the Eagle's Nest up there or something. Crow's Nest.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Love this picture. Super, super creepy. It's a road with a car stopped, a guy getting out of the car, looking ahead up the road, and there are 3 enormous, giant monster creatures coming his way, surrounded by a flock of birds. Love that. So, what could the caption possibly be?
I'm stuck with a flock of seagulls with horrible music and ugly things staring at me.
We're looking for your big and tall shop.
That's a good one. But you didn't go with a flock of seagulls reference, though.
No,
I'm a little disappointed.
You think they're seagulls?
Well, I would assume they are.
They might be.
Because they look very annoying.
And they're very small, but it's because it's edited.
Yes, but no, it's that would be creepy to see. That would be horrifying.
Yes,
I would not
imagine being the owner of the big and tall shop they're looking for.
Yeah, that would be bad. I might
or the
close.
tailor.
Yes,
bring out your tailor.
Yes, I wish I had his tailor's name. Yes, yeah. Wish I knew the name was Taylor.
Moving along, our good buds at Atlas Obscura, that's the website. They have a book also that basically is the oddities and weird places and strange phenomena of world travel.
Phenomena.
Atlas phenomena.
Okay.
Phenomena.
Okay.
So Atlas Obscura now also does leads travel groups themselves, tour groups.
Oh, that's very, very cool. Hey, if you ever want to see something truly creepy, though, Eric, go on the internet and look at this website called abandonedmalls.com.
Oh, I've seen that.
Isn't that creepy as hell?
The guy who started it is from Akron. From
Really?
right here. He started
It's
with abandoned
just-
Northeast Ohio malls.
Yeah, it's just creepy. You know,
Very
it's
creepy.
just a creepy website, and I don't know why it's so creepy, but it just is. It just gets
Because
you.
malls are supposed to be places of energy and comfort, and it's where you go to sort of experience the world in a sense, in a microcosm.
Yeah.
And they're abandoned and dark and dirty and decrepit. It just flies in the face of all that they're supposed to be.
Man, yeah. I just found it to be very, very creepy. That and abandoned hospitals. That's another one that's just creepy.
Oh, yeah. Those are awful. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, Atlas Obscura this summer is taking a group to Romania, and the emphasis is on castles and creepy places.
And why not? You're in Romania. That's like
You're in Romania.
epicenter of creepy.
Super creepy. They're going to Transylvania and, of course, Dracula's castle.
Well, you got to go there. You cannot
Among
go to
many
Romania
other-
without going to Dracula's castle.
Well, I would not. It would be foolish.
You would not. Yeah, I'd never miss out on that. No.
So are you a fan of the Zombieland movie?
Oh, hell yeah.
Classic, funny,
Yes.
also scary and bloody.
Yes.
Well,
love it all. Yes, sir.
The entire original cast is returning for Zombieland 2. Did you know that?
I read that a while back, but at that point it was still just a rumor. Now it's been confirmed. It will be a Zombieland 2. But one
Full
of my,
original cast.
Yep, full original cast, but they're adding one member, and I was kind of excited because I like her. She's very good.
Oh, I do too.
Very
Yeah.
good actress.
Big fan of hers. Rosario Dawson. Yes.
She was great.
She's
If you ever want to see her comedic stuff, though, go watch a movie, and you might have seen this, and it's kind of a crude one, but it's called Clerks 2. And it's a Kevin Smith flick.
I would not say kind of a crude one.
It is crude. It is crude. I'm bringing it back. Come on. No, I'm kidding. And yeah, check that out. But she was actually when I saw that film, I was thinking, oh, really? The serious lady from these serious films is going to be in this show? She actually pulled it off, so I'm looking forward to seeing how well she does with Zombieland.
I think she started in Rent on Broadway.
I think so, yeah.
And the first thing I saw her in was the second Men in Black, and she was great in that.
Yeah, that's right. She was in that, wasn't she? I'd forgotten she was in that.
She was the girlfriend.
She's been around a long time, hasn't she?
She has, and
Yeah.
she's still pretty young, I think.
Yeah, she's not that old. She's only, in her late 30s, maybe, at this point?
Maybe.
Yeah.
At the most, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's interesting news. We'll be looking out for that one. Also returning, Zack Snyder took a break. I guess he had some sort of family medical emergency, so he's been out of the film biz for a couple years now. But he is returning to direct a zombie action film, Army of the Dead.
Wow, I've heard about this. I'm looking forward to that. And there has been a real lack of any quality zombie movies in cinema anyway, or even in streaming. So it'll be nice to see something decent in the zombie genre. It was hot and heavy, and it just kind of withered away.
Yeah, it's kind of on the outs right now, but of course they keep trying. They're not giving up. But yes, Army of the Dead will be directed by Zack Snyder, returned from a hiatus. Well, I found this image, but this is of a real location. It's called the Cursing Well.
Oh, wow.
And the sign at the cursing well.
Oh, deposit your curses here. I see that. Okay.
Yes.
No,
well, in a sense. And we'll tell you how it ends at the ending. All right, so here's the sign. Feel your life could get no worse? Toss in some coins and make a curse. Curse your enemies. Curse your fate. Curse pain, stupidity, war, and hate. And if you make your curses well, you'll send your demons back to hell. How is that?
no wishing, please. It says on the bottom.
Yeah, that's a hilarious thing. In parentheses, no wishing, please. And then there's a bunch of skulls right beneath the sign. Not wish.
You better not wish.
No wishes.
Better not. If you wish,
There'll be hell to
We'll know
pay.
who you are.
All right, the next one, again, you kind of got to see the picture on a lot of these. That's why we always suggest you go check it out for yourselves. You don't even have to belong to Twitter. Go to twitter.com/AMHaunted. The next one is total badass tattooed chick.
Yep.
With about 10 balls out werewolves. She appears to be the boss, commanding the werewolves. And, of course, the caption is, and this is in a clearly dystopian world, just a girl and her pups.
Oh, well, really quickly, what is your favorite werewolf movie of all time?
American Werewolf in London.
Same here. Same here. John Landis did a great job with that movie.
Funny.
Absolutely
and
wonderful.
Horrifying and funny.
They were talking about, get this though, redoing it.
No.
Yes, they were talking about redoing it, and there was such an outcry for people wanting the original to stay pure that I think they've given up on that idea of redoing it, simply because the effects were far and away above their time. I mean,
amazing, and it was all
amazing.
practical effects.
It was.
Too. No
It
CGI.
was. And so when I heard that they were going to cast like Ben Affleck or somebody in the lead role, oh God, don't do this to us. Do not destroy yet another one. There's a few movies that should not be remade, and that is one of them. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. It's perfect the way it is.
It's a very delicate thing, and it's not something you want to mess with. I mean, if they were going to make a sequel or something, fine, whatever.
They tried that. It failed as American Werewolf from Paris.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
And it failed epically because it just didn't have the magic.
Didn't have the same, right?
Nope. Just
I
didn't
forgot
have
all
it.
about it. It makes your point. I forgot all about it.
Yes, sir. So that is my favorite as well, American Werewolf in London. If you've never seen it, check that out. Great film.
I love the original Wolfman is a classic. Very poignant, because he didn't want to do it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to be evil. He doesn't want to hurt people. No. He can't help it. It's a curse.
Just can't help himself. I wasn't a fan of The Howling was all right. It was all right.
Yeah,
the first one. But after that,
right.
it just fell. Yeah. And then Silver Bullet, Stephen King's. That's another one that's a little different. But
have you seen Dog Soldiers?
I did. I have seen Dog Soldiers. That one's
pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
A very different theme.
Yeah.
There probably aren't as many, great werewolf movies as some of the other monster genres,
I think because it's so hard to pull off.
Those transformations are tough.
And it's really hard to live up to American Werewolf in London or The Wolfman. I mean, that was like everyone will compare any other Wolfman movie to those two films automatically. The Wolfman and American Werewolf in London. And both of them are works of art. So how do you compare them? You just, unless you can stand in that arena with them, I think a lot of people are intimidated to try to make one.
My other favorite werewolf, and it's not a werewolf movie, but there's fairly briefly werewolves in it, but just the design of the werewolves is Van Helsing. I love that battle at the end. I don't know if you remember the very end of it where it's Dracula in full on like vampire monster form against Hugh Jackman.
Yep. That was a good one.
as a werewolf. So that's a transformation.
What was
that
the
I
name of the one of Jack Nicholson was in it? Was that just called Wolf? I can't remember, but
I
he
think that was
tried.
just Wolf.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was not as good as I was hoping either when that came out. But I'm a little bit of a snob on that whole thing. After you've seen American Werewolf in London, it kind of spoils you for everything
That one
else.
was more psychological
Yeah,
too. It's like,
yeah.
what does it feel like?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I don't care how it feels to be a wolf. I just want to see the wolf.
All right, moving along. Amazing photograph from National Geographic. They have many. This was a guy taking pictures of waterfalls all over the world, and I wish the image was bigger to give more context, but you got this tiny little guy in his yellow raincoat at the bottom of this massive, enormous waterfall in Iceland, and it is a staggering reminder of the power of nature and how small human beings are.
Hey, isn't there a song in your captions? Don't go chasing waterfalls. Isn't there a TLC song that was that same?
Exactly correct. You win.
I wasn't sure if you were quoting TLC or maybe you weren't aware of the song. Okay,
I was quoting TLC.
Well, that's good of you. They need someone to quote them. No one does it after all.
Yeah, we do. Although that line gets quoted quite a bit.
It does.
I've been hearing it more lately.
All
right. Well, we were talking about Bigfoot. I guess you're having a couple of the Bigfoot hunters at the
we're having good buds. Abe Del Rio, Mike Hexum, and they are, of course, as seen on Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot. So stop on and meet them. But they're also having the big, third annual camping event over there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's not real far from me either. It's because it's west Pennsylvania, and boy, they got a lot of people showing up for that. A lot of big time.
Are you going to go?
Celebs.
You should go.
I might. I actually might, because it's not that far.
Stop in, for the day, and say,
it looks like maybe it's 2 hours away, maybe.
I mean, I see some non-Bigfoot hunters there, too, that really, I don't know if they really fit in, but hey, why not? More the merrier.
Well, they're paranormal people anyway. Yeah, I think they're going to... That's the new thing, the hot new trend with Bigfoot is maybe Bigfoot is paranormal, or maybe an alien, or maybe from another dimension, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you just never know. All the theories are up for debate, and they're all just as valid. So, because no one knows.
That's right, until we have a body.
Yep.
No one knows. So anyway, 3-day event, May 31st to June 2nd. 12 and a half, I'm not sure what that means. 12 and a half amazing guest speakers.
Someone just piped up and said, maybe they're having a midget. That's not nice. That is not
a half
nice. That's a little person. That is not politically correct.
Person.
Yes.
Yes. So that'll be an interesting event. Check it out. What's their site? Their site is PABigfootCampingAdventure.com. It should be fascinating and fun in the woods, if nothing else.
That's
all right.
A good time out of doors.
If nothing else. All right. New horror film. This one's been getting a lot of talk. I've been hearing quite a bit about this. They're calling it Blair Witch on steroids.
Oh, I thought that was the back of a burner or something on that kid's back. I thought it was from a stove. I thought it was a PSA not to touch stoves.
Well, that, of course, is very important. We don't want people going around touching hot stoves. But in this case, no, I think it's some sort of symbol.
Oh, because it looks just like the curly Q on a stove. Okay.
It does. I agree with that. But the film is called Wretch.
Oh.
And it's being called Blair Witch on steroids.
Wow. It will be banned from the Olympics. That's for damn sure.
And if you click on through, of course, another reason to go to the Twitter feed, twitter.com/amhaunted. If you click on through, you get a nice trailer. Well, it's not nice. It's creepy. You get a trailer, lots of descriptions and pictures and whatnot of the film, Wretch. It'll be coming soon.
But
I guess at time, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. But will we be talking about Wretch 20 years from now like we still are Blair Witch? Just saying.
Doubtful.
Wretch. Just saying, Wretch. We got to get out of here. We'll come back. We're going to be talking with our guest tonight, Nanci Danison. Sorry about that. Again, the tongue twister because it's so dry in here. I almost coughed. Gosh. I'm going to die, man. I'm going to die. Okay, we'll be right back. Right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at Motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I paid more than the minimum each month, and soon enough, it was gone.
So you're just giving up?
Giving up on what?
The life of luxury. Egyptian cotton, caviar Thursdays, designer everything.
What are you talking about?
Our plan. What happened to winning the lottery and mastering the art of the perfect mimosa? Hosting galas, wearing enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacationing in the French Riviera, and then buying it.
I just thought maybe it was time to prepare for my future. You know, set some financial goals, make some smart investments, open a 401k.
Financial goals? Investments? A 401k? You are horrifying right now. Listen, if winning the lottery were easy, everyone would do it.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So me and the boys head out to tailgate today and find some other fans in our spot.
Well, it happens.
Cheering for the wrong team.
Oh, this is war.
Even worse, they've got this couch set up and everything.
A couch?
Yeah, it's sectional.
All right, first thing, don't ever use the word sectional again.
Done.
Second, I want you to grab a 4,700-pound tow chain with J-hook and grab hammer. Throw that on the back of your truck.
Got it.
Now you're going to Hail Mary the J-hook over the end of that couch. Time to find a better spot for your new friends.
That should do it.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Green light. Hey, girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olson.
And we have a great guest on tap. You know, one thing, Eric, I've always been very interested in is near-death experiences, man. How about you?
Yeah.
I mean, it just
always think about it.
Always makes me think. And we got a guest tonight. And I'm going to step aside, though, like I always do, and let you intro her. But that has always been one of my things. I've always had a very, very keen interest in what happens. What happens at the end?
Well, Joel, as you have heard more than once, I had an out-of-body experience.
Right, you did.
In my late teen years. So I'm even more fascinated than people who go beyond that.
Yeah.
I was in, I guess, a temporary, I don't know what you, I suppose it was a short-term coma, I suppose is what I was in.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And you even witnessed a doctor assaulting your father assaulting a doctor. So, hey, who can say that very often?
Hands around his neck. You are killing my son!
What have you done, man?
Killing my son!
You animal!
What do you mean, killing? I'm right here. I'm up here in the ceiling. Wait a minute. I'm up in the ceiling. Maybe something is wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as Joel said, we have a tremendous, really fascinating guest, former attorney, lifelong attorney, multiple author, and near-death experience. Actually, in to her way of thinking, she died. Her name is Nanci Danison, and her latest book in this series, talking about that fundamental protean experience, is Create a New Reality, Move Beyond Law of Attraction Theory. Do you want a life you live on your own terms and not one that feels like it happens to you? Nanci Danison found out how to create a happier life in the most dramatic way possible. She died during the most extensive afterlife visit ever reported. The author was shown and told that we souls consciously and unconsciously create our own physical reality during human life through an incredible spiritual power called manifesting. Create a New Reality, Move Beyond Law of Attraction Theory introduces readers to the power of manifesting and leads them step by step through how to create more opportunities to better their lives, to replace one's old beliefs that hold them back from creating a happier life, and to heal themselves of physical and emotional wounds. Who, you may ask, is Nanci Danison? Until March 1994, Nanci lived the life of a successful trial lawyer with a national health law practice in a large Midwestern law firm. Then she died during an invasive radiological procedure before surgery, plunging her farther into the afterlife than previously thought survivable. She returned to share her memories of what she learned in heaven. After that experience, Nanci left the security of her law firm and set up her own firm, earned her private pilot's license, and became a licensed private detective. She continued her community service on the boards of directors of the Columbus Cancer Clinic and the National Church Residencies. Her beyond death experience provided Nanci with the unique opportunity to view human life from the perspective of one who has transformed into a being of light. Like the beings of light other near-death experiencers encounter. Nanci learned how to consciously manifest reality, hold multiple simultaneous levels of self-awareness, access universal knowledge and a wide variety of subjects, recognize and experience unconditional love, apply self-healing techniques, and utilize many other abilities natural to us all in our spiritual state. And there is so much more, but we would rather hear it from her. Welcome to the program, Nanci Danison.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, Nanci, thanks for coming on, and very interesting. It sounds like you lived quite a full life, both before the near-death experience and after the near-death experience. So that's really kind of cool, though, that you decided. The private investigator thing sounds really cool, though. Do you run around and...
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you bust cheaters, stuff like that? What do you do? I mean, do you book them down kind of thing, or what?
No, I only had that job for a little while because my health got in the way. But I did undercover work, like you said, watching cheaters.
Really?
And stuff. And then one of my favorites was I was investigating a builder and whether the builder was, not building up to specs, for somebody who bought one of the houses from the builder. I fell in love with the house.
That's a whole show on its own right there, is you going undercover. So, we won't spend too much time on that, because I could sit there and just ask you what it's like. So you went deep cover, did you? To break up the vast conglomerate that was the construction fraud ring.
Owned by...
Mr. Burns.
Yeah, I wish it was that glamorous.
Owned by Donald Trump.
Yeah, there you go. But
yeah.
Now, you've written five books, and it sounds like, okay, you're a really, really successful attorney. You're top 5 in your field. You're voted by your peers, by the way, I might add, which is a huge accolade. Was dying ever on your mind? I mean, what was your worldview about the afterlife before the near-death experience?
I had been raised as a Catholic. I had 12 years of Catholic education, 6 years of Methodist college. And so I expected the afterlife to be what they taught me in school and taught me in church. And it turned out not to be anything like that at all.
Is it better or worse?
Different.
Okay.
Hard to qualify, I would think, in terms of better or worse.
Well, what I mean is it the streets of gold that they told us in the kids when in the Bible, or is it something completely different than what is illustrated mentally? Of course, no pictures, but what is relayed to us from the Bible? Is there anywhere that they're similar?
No. In fact, all my life before I died, I held the belief, as many of us do, that God created us to be human beings and put us on this earth, and we had to earn our way to heaven by doing good deeds and following all kinds of rules. You know, the Catholic rules were the ones I thought I had to follow, and that we were completely separate from our Creator. I learned while I was in the afterlife that none of that is true. That, in fact, our Creator, which I call Source, because it was an energy source, huge, infinite field of energy that's alive and has personality and intelligence and curiosity and humor and all kinds of innate characteristics and traits. And this energy source imagined the universe, kind of like how we imagine dreamscapes. You know, when we dream at night, we've got, some kind of scenario there. And then Source imagined creatures and things and plants and, everything that populates the universe, just like we have people and places in our dreams. And then just like how we participate in our own dreams from inside our dream character of ourselves, and we interact with the other dream characters through that dream character that's us, Source puts itself into every character, every creature, every thing and place in the physical world in order to experience the physical creation of the universe. And so what we call soul inside these humans is actually Source of self-awareness. It's consciousness participating in the physical world through us.
So you're kind of saying...
we are...
Oh, I'm sorry about the Nancy, but you're kind of saying that we're kind of like meat puppets?
No, more like... The part meat is kind of offensive to humans. But,
somewhat denigrating, I would say. Although it's a good band name.
It is a great band name.
I love the name, but puppet is the part that really doesn't fit. We are not puppets of our Creator, of Source. We have amnesia as to who we really are. And so we don't even know that we're Source. And Source has allowed us to use our creativity and curiosity and all kinds of innate character traits that we have to literally create an incarnated life for ourselves that evolves as we go along. And we change it from moment to moment as we go along. So nothing is pre-planned, nothing is controlled. It's all up to us. And we do create our lives using the spiritual power of manifesting. The universe is manifested by Source, and we, parts of Source's mind, manifest our individual physical lives.
Are we kind of living in the Matrix? That kind of thought process?
When I saw that movie, I thought, wow, that's kind of the idea, except that, there's no devastated real Earth, and we're not human batteries.
And there's no bad acting guy that goes, "You mean I've been a puppet this whole time?" Keanu.
No.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because we've actually heard this before. This is not a brand new thing. We have talked to people who are either seem to be really quite legitimate psychics or mediums, or even people who have had near-death experiences, and you get kind of a pretty similar picture. It sounds like we are the individual nodes of this almost giant, we're the waving arms of this enormous entity, and we have autonomy in that we are our own individual node, but yet we are connected back to the source. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think that's a good description.
Kind of like the Borg from Star Trek.
You know, I love the Borg.
I'm just trying to put some
when
words
I
can wrap my head around, you know what I mean? So is it like the Borg?
Yeah, it is kind of like the Borg.
Ah,
except
gotcha.
that
Hit on one.
The Borg, the Borg are controlled, by central mind. We are not controlled. We are free agents.
Okay. You know I kind of put the cart in front of the horse here. We should really back up. I know.
Yeah, we got to hear the tale, man. That's quite a tale.
How did you? I can't believe I'm asking this. But how did you die? Yeah, I guess it's the best way to ask
even maybe if I can interject.
Yes, absolutely.
Just a little lead into that. So this is my life right now. Oops, and then I died. That kind of thing. Just to know what kind of a difference.
And what it's like to die.
A radical transformation, really.
I was 43 years old, and I had been working my tail off to be a success as an attorney. I was in a 270 lawyer attorney and made partner, and had a national health law practice. I went all over the country speaking on various topics for, like the ABA and the National Health Lawyers Association, places like that. And my partners were kind enough to have a mobile mammography unit come and park in our parking lot, and everybody in the firm could go out and get a mammogram. So I did. I got a call back 2 weeks later saying, we want you to come in for some magnification studies. And from there, I went through the process of, meeting a surgeon and having the surgery. And what I learned in this process was that, not all cancers form lumps that a surgeon can feel and cut out, during surgery. Some breast cancers form calcium deposits that show up on mammogram. And so that's what I had these 3 lesions showing up on mammogram, and a radiologist was trying to mark where the tumors were so that the surgeon would know where to cut. And so she stuck a large bore needle with a wire inside of it into my breast, and then kept doing mammogram films, trying to get the wire in the right place. So I had like 8 mammograms while this doctor was taking the needle in and out and trying to get it positioned right. And the net effect of all that was I had an allergic reaction and very, very low blood sugar. And the two of them together caused me to have anaphylactic shock. And when the radiologist and the radiology technician left the room to get the 8th set of films developed and take a break, because we'd been at it for like an hour, 15 minutes, an hour and a half, right after they left, I did too. I left my body and went into the light.
Damn. So you went in for a mammogram just to do it. Kind of lead by example. You show it up, the truck, you go in there, you have your mammogram. They call you up and say, hey, we found something, we need to do more tests. You go through anaphylactic shock, you end up passing away. Okay, at that point when you're passing away, were there loved ones to guide you over? There was a light there. You'd mentioned that there's a light. Is there truly a light there that you have to choose to go in?
Yes. But my experience was, I was in blackness first. It was a very slow process of getting out of my body. I remember every single second of it. And when I was standing like in front of my body, I went, that is so cool. I didn't know you could do that. But I was in black. I did. But I was in blackness. And it wasn't scary because it was familiar. And then all of a sudden I saw this tiny pinpoint of light in the distance, and I thought, oh, yeah, I know what this is. I'm supposed to go into the light. So each stage as I went through it in the afterlife, and I went through a lot of stages, I recognized it at the time. I remembered doing it before, And I was told that this is the normal process that we all go through when we leave, incarnated life and are returning to our natural spiritual state. So I did go into the light. I was all alone. I had no family or friends to greet me. But, I had no idea I was dying. And I think part of what causes loved ones to come to you, at the time of death is you're dying, and they know you're dying. Mm-hmm. I was just in the light by myself, completely bathed with this bliss and unconditional love and acceptance, with information just dropping into my head like crazy. And I just was trying to diagnose myself. I was, going through a medical list of, signs and symptoms.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any inkling that I had died because I never lost consciousness. And I remember every single second of everything that happened to me. And it wasn't until sometime later when I was looking through the back of my head and I could see down below me, like maybe a floor below me, in the mammography room, I could see this body sitting there. And I went, nah, I couldn't have died. I mean, I always heard you went through a tunnel when you die. And I didn't go through a tunnel, and boom, I'm in a tunnel. And this was the first physical scenario that I manifested just by thinking the word. And I thought tunnel, and I was in this tunnel that was like maybe from the 1920s, dirt, stone walls, railroad track above it, paved surface on the on the ground that I was walking on, smelly, moldy, hot. I could feel the moisture on my skin. Completely real as anything I'd ever experienced as Nanci. But I wasn't fooled by it. And I did 2 more experiments like that, and I kept saying to myself, oh, I wasn't fooled by this. And I'm going, what do you mean fooled? How can you be fooled by, reality? And the word came to me, manifesting. I had manifested those environments, and that's what we do all the time when we're in physical life. We create our physical environments alone and in combination with all those around us.
At any point where once you realized that you were indeed dead, did you experience any kind of fear that, this really is the real end, or was it very peaceful?
No, because it was so wonderful. It was so wonderful, and it was so interesting. And after I, did these manifesting experiments, that's when I first started thinking why I died. And then I met my 5 most beloved, dearest, longtime, eternal friends. And they were not anyone I'd ever known in human life. And they had not been incarnated for ages. But so I did eventually meet up with friends.
I was going to say, you're alone meeting strangers that were...
Your buds popped up then, huh?
So, it was party time. Excellent.
Yeah, and with them I had a life review. And the interesting thing about the life review is I didn't think it was interesting at all because I just lived it, While my life review was going on, my 5 friends were popping into these scenes from my life and living them as me. They could actually experience my life and not just watch it.
Is it a bit like
and while they were doing that...
This is so... I'm sorry, Nanci. I have a million questions. I really don't mean to interrupt.
It's like a plug and play.
Yeah, is it like a play? I mean, are their characters acting out these scenes that were, it was kind of like a Nanci, this is your life, only on a cosmic level?
No, they were not acting. They were actually me living scenes from my life. Or they could be themselves living scenes from my life.
Okay.
There isn't anything in human life that even remotely resembles it. And I went into a stage of the afterlife where I did that. I would pop into their lives that they'd had, physical lives that they'd had. And I could do it either as myself experiencing their life, kind of like how you put yourself in a dream, or I could do it as them experiencing the life, and I could feel that I was them. And then I would do it like with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of us all merged together. It was mind-blowing. So there wasn't anything scary about it because it was so fascinating.
Is it like in A Christmas Carol where you're visiting those scenes but you're not really there? Or was that a literal reality that you were experiencing? an alternative reality, say? Or was it more like running the tape, participating in a tape that you couldn't alter? You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. It was more like the tape than the other two.
Okay.
But it was reality. I mean, it was real.
You were reviewing it.
No, living it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reviewing it, to me, it connotes that you're standing back watching.
Yeah.
Living it, you're from inside the body, and you could feel all the body sensations. And, when I was living my light being friends' lives, I could feel what they felt when they lived it.
I feel sorry.
Got it.
I feel sorry for the people that have to do mine because, boy, am I boring. They're going to be like, oh, man.
Well, I thought my life review was boring, too. I didn't even want to watch it.
I'm like, well, I'm going to take a nap here because I know what's happening. And
I didn't take a nap. What I saw was I remembered hundreds and hundreds of other physical lifetimes that I'd lived. And I reviewed those. And I remembered all those.
So, yeah. Obviously, to you, experiencing all this, what happened to your sense of time within the experience, A, and then B, how much real time, or I should say terrestrial time, was going by while you experienced all that?
I was actually told early in the experience that time is a fiction created by humans that makes sense to them because they experience life in a linear, step-by-step fashion.
Right. Sure.
But in the afterlife, everything exists all at the same time.
Right.
So there's no step-by-step. Although, when I tell my story, things did happen, one happened after another. So there was some linear progression in that sense.
Sequential.
But in terms, but everything is available, all information, all experiences, everything is available all at the same time. Now, in terms of how much time passed, I don't know for sure. I've tried to work that out with the radiologist, and she left, several minutes before I left my body, and she had come back into the room before I came back into my body. And so we're guessing 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow. But to
it took
you,
half an hour for my blood pressure to come up to normal.
Yeah.
Wow. So what did bring you back? How did you come back?
I came back to... Oh, you're going to love this. The whole time, later on in my afterlife experience, I asked the questions about, who am I and who's God and where's heaven, where's hell, what's the one true religion, what's the purpose of life, why am I on earth? And when I got the answers, I was angry. And I thought, man, why didn't people just tell me this, while I was on earth? I would have understood this. I'm not stupid. I could have gotten this.
Yeah.
And in response to my anger, I was shown this history of Earth and the development of religion and humans. Well, after that was all over, I kept saying, somebody really ought to tell those people. But I was in the process of awakening to the knowledge that I am, just a mental character in Source's mind, that I'm not separate, that I've never been separate. And during that awakening, as wonderful and mind-blowing as it was, I kept thinking, somebody really ought to tell those people. And the next thing I know, I'm on my way back to my body through this giant whirlwind. I was saying, I didn't mean me. I didn't mean me.
Well, at any point, did anyone come up to you in that side, the Source side, saying that you're not meant to be here yet? Because we hear that a lot. People have NDEs, and someone will say, or some entity or some spirit will say, it's not your time. You're not meant to be here yet.
No, because it was my time. I mean, I was told that I hadn't exactly completed my goals, but it was clear that I wasn't going to do any better on them. After 43 years, I wasn't doing any better. So it was my time to die. And then I took on this new mission at the end of my afterlife experience when I, coming back to the body, and I was memorizing as much as I could of what I learned, and my light being friends were there saying, love is all that matters, love is all that truly matters.
Like a Beatles song.
Yeah, all you need is love.
Love, that's right.
Or we
I
all
didn't
live
have
in
any
a,
music with it, just the word.
Yeah. Or we all live in a yellow submarine. Take your pick.
Yeah. But the mission I accepted was to tell anybody who would listen what I experienced and learned in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are.
So you manifested yourself back to life.
I don't really know what happened. I don't know if I volunteered, whether I was sent, whether I chose to do. I don't know.
Well, is Source, aka I guess for to put it in perspective, God, Source, whatever you want to call it. It's all knowing, it's all conscious, but is it like a one individual, or is it multiples? The Source.
Both. There's a core personality, and it is also a collective entity. Kind of in the same way that we're collective entities because we have all these dream characters in our mind, or the way an author has all these, book characters in his or her mind. We are personalities, characters in Source's mind, and we all exist as long as Source exists, eternally.
All right, so
but Source is one entity.
Yeah.
Fascinating. What are some of the personality characteristics of that core, the core of the Source? What are the characteristics?
Well, first of all, it's made of energy. And one of the things I thought was really interesting was, when near-death experiencers go into the afterlife, they feel this bliss. Well, that feeling of bliss is just what Source's energy feels like.
Oh,
and the closer you get to the core of Source, the more you feel the bliss.
The closer you get to Nirvana,
that's
if you
energy.
will. Yeah.
How close did you get?
I almost, there's no good word for it. I awakened to the knowledge that I am Source, and my individual existence as Nanci was gone. So, and some people call that merger. I called it merger for a while, and then I started getting reader feedback that, that was a misleading term. But that's really the best English word I can come up with.
Well, Nanci,
merged into Source.
After you learned all this information, you learned how vast we truly are, did you kind of go, well, I don't need to study law anymore. I don't need to make money anymore. Like so many people that do have near-death experiences, they get very philosophical and understand that, well, none of this really matters anyway. I'm going to go have fun for the rest of my life.
Kind of. As soon as I got back into my body, I realized I couldn't live the way I had been living. I mean, all of my beliefs, everything I ever believed about myself, about God, about the afterlife, about everything, had been ripped away and replaced with something new and fabulous that most people didn't even know what I was talking about. And so I had a big, big adjustment period. And while I was in the afterlife, I was shown that I had been a money-grubbing, driven to success, hard-charging, nasty lawyer, and that I hadn't taken the time to do the important things, to show people that I loved them.
But Nanci,
to have children.
Is there any other kind?
Apparently not. Well, no. After I came back from the afterlife, I changed. In fact, I had to leave my law firm because I had changed so much. I didn't want to put my partners through, the turmoil that I was going through.
Sure.
So, as my friend Bill Guggenheim, who wrote the book Hello from Heaven, says, I climbed back down the ladder of success.
Yeah. A lot of people do that. One of the guys we had on, Eric, this is years ago, that had an NDE, and I said, well, what did you do after you almost died? He says, I went on the beach and I banged on a drum all day. That's what he did. He said, I
didn't do that.
He says, I don't want to work. I want to bang on a drum all day. Yeah. So we have to run a break. We come back. We're going to be talking more with Nanci. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this because we got to figure out about ghosts, karma, and sin. Be right back.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So Daddy's little girl thinks she's going to prom tonight with some punk who calls himself Snake.
Yeah, they grow up so fast.
Well, not if I can help it, they don't.
Okay, here's what you do. When that kid shows up, Dad's going to be doing a few chores around the house.
Huh?
It doesn't matter the chore. What's important is that it requires the use of a 60cc gas-powered chainsaw and possibly a mask.
I think it's showtime.
He's here. Dad, I want you to meet...
All right, let her rip.
What's that, honey? Hi, Snake. Great to meet you. But wait, where are you going?
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My backyard.
Oh, your backyard. Try telling a bear that.
I did, and this bear talked back.
Talking bear, that's rich.
No, wait, it was Smokey Bear.
Smokey? Why didn't you say so?
I did say so.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste.
No, boy.
He told me to burn legally and responsibly, and to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
And as always, he's right. You know, 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Yeah, I know that now.
Thanks to me.
Actually, thanks to Smokey.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Get your Smokey on. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com. Only you can prevent wildfires.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olson.
And tonight we are we're going near-death experience, and with Nanci and Nanci Danison. Sorry about that, stumbling over my own tongue. Boy, it is dry in this house. I cannot buy enough humidifiers. I swear to God, Eric, it's so dry.
We have two in one room. That's
I
how
know. I have one of those split lip things going on from being chapped. Ouch! Stumbled over. Anyhow, we are right back at you. When we were leaving, Nanci was taking us through her progression of dying during a medical procedure and going to meet the source and understanding, taking a trip to the afterlife, but. Really, okay, there's a whole lot of questions that are hitting me right now. Number one, if we are all part of Source, where do ghosts fit into this?
Ghosts are real, but they're not what we think they are. Because everything really exists just in Source's mind and its imagination, things can become aware of one another. So when we see ghosts in human life, they're not, like from the afterlife trapped in the physical world or anything like that. We're just seeing them in their own environment, which is the afterlife. And they can take on any form that they want.
Now, are we just the Source's thought forms at the end of the day? Just something it created? Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Joel, that fits so well into some of the things, Nanci, as I was saying earlier, we kind of have cobbled together this worldview just based on, of course, our own experiences and our own thoughts and reading. But then, all these interviews that we've done, and as I was saying, there really is quite a bit of commonality to them. So one of the things that fascinates both of us is this notion of thought forms and humans being able to actually create autonomous entities just by the power of thought or the power of will. And we've studied some instances of that. There are religious in various world religions there are forms of that. For example, in Hindu there is the tulpa. In many ways the golem of Judaism, although that has a physical form, but in essence what powers it is thought. So we're fascinated by that is what I'm trying to say. And the notion that we're all in essence thought forms just on this this plane that we call reality is fascinating. Any additional insight into the notion of thought forms made real? Anything more occur to you? I mean, your whole experience and worldview, of course, backs that up. But anything specific to that notion? Have you heard of the term tulpa? Do you know what that is?
Yes, and I know what a golem is too. My understanding, what I was told in the afterlife, is that Source, the main character Source, created like human animals and other animals and plants and all the things that we can incarnate into. Source, the core entity, created those. We don't create those. But we, characters within Source's mind, we souls, can create events and opportunities and parts of our lives that we are incarnated into. And so those events and opportunities and things are the thoughts that take form for us, but not these bodies that we inhabit.
Interesting. So we are completely separate from this shell that we're in. This is just a vehicle to operate on this plane.
Well, it's an animal, just like other Earth animals, and I was given a whole ton of information about humans and how they're different from what we are as spiritual entities, parts of Source.
Well, because one thing a lot of people mention about coming back or reincarnating, there's a lot of talk about karma. Is karma a thing? I mean, we're just a part of the Source. If we're a creation of the Source, where does karma and good and bad karma fit into that?
My understanding of karma is that, and I could be wrong, you guys tell me, but I thought karma meant that if we do something in this life, in our next life we have to pay for it. Like if you're really bad, you might have to come back as an insect or something like that.
It can mean that, yeah.
My understanding of it.
Yep, I've heard both ways.
Okay.
It's kind of the cosmic scale. It's the scale of justice. Our classic picture of blind justice with the scales. It's kind of like, so positive things, positive actions in life yield positive results. In essence, rewards. You move up the scale. Negative behavior, evil behaviors, etc., move you down the scale.
Okay, well, there's no scale. The whole idea of hierarchy is a human creation because animals have hierarchies. The survival instinct builds, and just part of the survival instinct is to have a hierarchy, an alpha male, and a beta male, and then followers. But none of that exists outside of animal life. So there's no hierarchy in the afterlife. And what I was told was that we individual souls, we choose what we want to incarnate into and how we want to live. And we do that by one of three things. Either we're studying a theme or some kind of characteristic or something unique about the species that we are interested in. Let's say we are interested in the fact that humans killed their own, which is, unlike other animals. And so we may come into a human life over and over and over and over and over into different lifetimes so that we can study that theme of humans killing their own kind from every conceivable perspective. We get the 360-degree view of it.
So what you're saying, Nanci, again, I don't mean to cut you off at all, but we could be the victim and the perpetrator? I mean, do we live both sides?
In different lifetimes. Yes, we do. And that can look like karma if some people do remember past lives, and it can look like, if you killed somebody in the last life and this life, you're going to be killed. It can look like payback or karma, but that's not what it is. You've just picked another life where you can see another aspect of that same theme. But
a cosmic
about your life.
It's a cosmic research project.
Yes. And, when I was in the afterlife, and other people who are in the afterlife who get knowings, near-death experiencers call them knowings,
Yeah.
That's where these knowings come from, is from all this data collected by Source through its individual souls all over the universe, having firsthand experience of everything, and all that is stored in Source's memory.
Amazing. Fascinating.
Yeah, that is. That's real fascinating, but I also kind of wonder then, where does free will fit into all this? I mean, it's all predestined.
It's all free will. No, none of it's predestined. While I was in the afterlife, I watched one of my incarnation selection events. And what I was told and what I saw is that we select the parents that we want to incarnate to. We don't pick the child, we pick the parents based upon their lifestyle and their innate character traits, and whether we believe that they will, by force of their personality and lifestyle and circumstances, allow us to create the opportunities we want to experience in order to study our theme.
Then I'm horrible at selecting them, by the way. Then I should have picked much better.
Hey, look at my life, But we can see, we get to preview events of, the lifetimes of the children that this couple is going to have. Mm-hmm. And when we then, if we pick, a child whose life we've previewed, just events from, not the whole life, when we then live through that event that we previewed, that's what gives us that feeling of deja vu.
Oh, fascinating. That makes lots of sense.
That's
Boy, are you connecting a lot of dots here?
But anyway, once we get into, the body that we're going to inhabit or the thing we're going to inhabit, we start manifesting on our own, moment by moment. And a lot of, like Earth and, its environs are all collectively manifested by a group of spiritual beings I call all those with an interest in Earth, which includes us. And a lot of what goes on in our life. I have such creative names for things.
That's a great name.
Yeah, all those with an interest in Earth, and we're part of that group.
Acronym.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't clever enough to think of one. But those, that group maintains, the uniform appearance of Earth. And that's why, we don't individually manifest, the polar vortex for ourselves. But we do manifest the events of our individual life.
So there could be like a Mars group and a Jupiter group and a Terra Nova 5 group?
There are.
Wow.
Yes.
So
there are.
Are there? So you're saying there are other entities on other planets, for example?
Oh, absolutely. When I was watching my other physical lifetimes that I had lived, I saw all kinds of creatures that I had been all through the universe.
Wow. Well,
plants, things.
But Nanci, here's the deal, though. I mean, we have the Source, but what about demons and evil then? I mean, do they exist? Are they negative Source?
I was told and shown that there's no such thing as demons or negative energy or the devil or anything like that. And those are manifestations of souls inside humans who are very fearful and superstitious. Not the souls, but humans themselves are very fearful and superstitious.
Okay.
And they create all kinds of, weird things to experience. And then we souls, because we believe the same things that our bodies do, we manifest those. But they don't exist for everyone. They only exist for us.
They don't exist independently.
They don't exist independent from our own life that we're manifesting.
So back to the original, your experience. It sounds like it was so compact, so granular, so rich that it is taking you the rest of a lifetime to kind of mine it. I mean, it sounds like that's kind of what you've been doing ever since, right? Trying to look back, in other words, in essence, into that experience and to kind of root around in there and pick things up and peer at them. Now, you mentioned that you have had subsequent experiences too. What have those been, and how do they link to your original origin experience?
It seems to me, and from talking with other near-death experiencers, they've had the same experience. Once you've attained the state of being in the afterlife, it's easier to do it again. And shortly after I came back into Nanci's body and I left my law firm, I used to leave my body and go into the afterlife for just brief periods of time. I'd go into other lifetimes in other parts of the universe. I mean, just my secretary would find me on the floor and, wake me up and I'd be back. But about 3 months after my 1994 near-death experience where I got all this information, I was back in the afterlife in front of a group of people that I would have to call a council. And the council was saying, you accepted this mission to tell anybody who would listen, what you experienced and what you learned in the afterlife, and you're not doing it. And I went, oh, okay.
How funny.
And so, it was kind of like a smack up the side of the head.
Yeah. Accountability, woman.
Yeah. And so I left my law firm, and I, kind of slowly started telling people. But I didn't write my first book until 2001 when I was very, very ill, and I couldn't work, so I started writing. Man. And then another time I had another council meeting. I died from very, very low blood sodium, and I went before a different council. And in this one, my parents were there. The parents of Nanci were there, and they were basically saying, that I hadn't completed my mission, but if I wanted to stay home in the afterlife, I could. No harm, no foul. But if I decided to go back into Nanci's body to try to complete my mission, I would suffer for the rest of her life. And so I said, pick me for the suffering, let's have the suffering. So I came back into the body, and as soon as I did, I called 911. I was in the hospital for 3 days.
Dang. Wow.
And then I got out of body. A couple more times during the cancer surgery in 2011. I got out and was like, bebopping around the hospital.
Are you sure that you don't have a feline DNA or something? Because it sounds like you have 9 lives going on here.
Oh, gosh, I hope it's not 9. Dying's not good for your health.
No, and no one gets out of your life.
Well, how many times have you clinically died? Oh, my goodness.
I was going to say. Oh, go ahead, man.
4, I think. One time I think I was just out of body, but like the 2 that was during the cancer surgeries, one of them I was just out of body walking around outside the operating room. The second time, the anesthesiologist resuscitated me.
So that reminds me of that movie Benjamin Button with the guy that keeps getting hit by lightning. I've been hit by lightning 7 times. That whole thing. You poor lady. Oh, my good Lord. The suffering.
Is it painful? I mean, are you suffering pain while any of this is going on? Or is it like the first time, which you said was just kind of this, you never lost consciousness, you didn't feel pain, it was very positive and buoyant, it sounded like. Has that been the case each time?
Oh, well, yes and no. Going before the council a couple of times, that wasn't, wonderful. I mean, I felt the bliss and the love and the acceptance and everything.
Until
but
you got in the room and they're like
called on the carpet, yeah.
Yeah, I had the bliss and all, but...
Until...
Yeah.
But where does...
I was like,
Where does sin come into all this? I mean, is there such thing?
No, there's no such thing as sin. That's a human creation that's part of this whole core philosophy that we are separate from our Creator and we have to earn our way to heaven by behaving properly. And so if we sin, we're not behaving properly and we're not going to make it to heaven. But since none of that exists, there's no such thing as sin. And I get a lot of flack from readers about that. You know, they want to know, well, how can, it be okay for Hitler, and how can it be okay for, child abusers and all that? Well, it's not okay,
right,
from a human perspective, but inasmuch as we were created by Source in order to experience everything it could imagine, and Source can imagine these things,
sure,
it's okay that we experience them.
Yeah. Well, we have less than 10 minutes left, Eric. I suppose we should touch upon at least our books and where they can get them.
Oh, yeah, and how can people find you? Your website. It seems like you had 2 sites, and then maybe any social media. Yeah, just let us know how people can get a hold of you. I'm sure people are going to have a lot of questions and want to communicate with you and read your books.
I hope so. Because that's why I'm here, is to tell anybody who will listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I have 5 books. The first 3 are Backwards. Backwards, Returning to Our Source for Answers, Backwards Guidebook, and Backwards Beliefs. And then the next 2 are Answers from the Afterlife and Create a New Reality. They're all available you can order them from any bookstore. Amazon always has a big supply of them, and they're our biggest seller. I have 2 websites, backwardsbooks.com and nancydanison.com. It's NANCIDANISON.com. And my email is on both websites, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter, but I got to tell you, I hardly ever check them.
What? Oh, no.
Well, it sounds like your websites are the way to go, and they're very well done. And Joel was watching some of your videos too. So you're also on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I got I don't know, maybe 20 videos on YouTube. But people email me, and I email.
Yeah,
I do that instead of Facebook and Twitter.
So very cool. But all this though, all what you've gone through, I would assume. And I don't want to speak for you, but I'm going to here for a minute. It's left you without a fear of death. It had to have.
I spent the first 2 years wanting to die. I wanted to go home. After that, I got to the point where, I could accept being here. I do not fear what happens after death, but I'm not crazy about suffering if my death is going to involve suffering. And one of them did. The time that I had the low blood sodium and had to go to the hospital for 3 days, I was sick as a dog then. My body was. So
it's not death. You don't fear death, but you're not thrilled about dying.
Yeah,
you're not thrilled about dying.
Yes.
It's the lead up to.
Now, I was told in the afterlife that if you really don't want to go through it, you can get out of body beforehand. So that's my plan.
Do you know how to do that?
You're going to bug out early.
Yeah, right. Do tell.
I've been out like 4 or 5 times, or 6 or 7 times, yeah.
Now, is there
I don't know if I can do it on demand. But.
Well, what about people that have where they leave their body, those out-of-body experiences? Are they going home? Are they visiting Source without the whole pesky dying part?
No, they're getting out of body, but they're still in the physical world reality. It does free them from, the human body's limitations, but it does not free us from human thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I was definitely still myself. What happened with me was I went into literally a doctor's office. It wasn't even a hospital or a clinic. It was just his office to have a ingrown toenail procedure. And it was kind of a comedy of errors where I didn't respond like normal people do to the Novocaine. So then he moved on to a heavier painkiller, which I was deathly allergic to. So I went into a coma instantly. An allergic reaction, basically, like you had. And I absolutely, my heart rate went down to almost nothing. I was cold, clammy. It was, extremely unpleasant. But as this was going on, I literally rose up above my body, and I was floating around above myself, but still certainly within the doctor's office, within that room. And I was watching what was going on, and it was fascinating. And then what brought me back is he gave me a massive dose of adrenaline. Meanwhile, my dad was in there with me, as Joel mentioned earlier, and he was freaking out. You're killing my son! You're killing my son! And the poor doctor was just losing his mind, and he's like, you can just see him going, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I don't want to kill this kid. And so the adrenaline did bring me back, and it was like literally being sucked. It was like back into my body, and there I was.
You know what that feels like? Yeah.
Well, that really sucks, Eric.
It did. And, I was so sick, for, I don't know, 2 weeks after that because of the allergic reaction.
Yeah.
I just felt awful. But, I was alive again, and it was fascinating. And I can absolutely describe, the whole room. I could describe things that I could have only seen from the perspective of being up at the ceiling looking down. Like, for example, the light, the examination light, I could see over that, in other words, the frame of it, I could see above it, which you couldn't see from below. And it, to me, it was absolutely as real as anything I've experienced. There was no doubt in my mind that it was real, that this was a real experience. It was not imagined. And it has certainly colored my life ever since. I didn't die. I did not have anything like the experience that you had. I did not receive those insights, but it certainly gave me a new perspective on kind of the transitory nature of our physical being.
And convinced you, like millions of us near-death experiencers, that we survive the death of this body.
Yes, it did. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's huge.
No doubt about it.
And that's huge, because I've always had a fear of death. I was worried, and still am in some small way, that once the party's over, it's over.
Well, I don't understand why, with millions and millions of people who have had these experiences, out-of-body and near-death experiences and afterlife experiences, why there's any doubt about that now. Why doesn't everybody just believe that?
Yeah, I do now. Big part of me does, but there's always that little piece.
Well, yeah, you do, Eric, but, and maybe, Joel, you do too, but, most people don't.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, but I'm just saying there's always that little piece of fear, though, that, what if for me everything goes wrong and there isn't a place for me at the table in the afterlife? Maybe I'm that one throwaway guy kind of thing.
What it has taught me, or what it suggests to me, is that human beings are extremely good at self-deception. And in a way, what you're describing of how we create our own lives and manifest our own lives, in a sense, it's a form of self-deception, because we're pretending it's real.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're right. And wow, we are out of time. It just crept right up on us. Nanci, thank you so much for coming on the show. This just flew right by. It really did. So until next time, guys, take care of each other, love each other, and definitely buy Nanci's books. They're great. After Hours AM is a production of Midwest Radio Productions. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And please visit www.americas-most-haunted.com.